President Obama delivered his final State of the Union address before Congress.
Yeah, and he went into it tonight saying this would be a more non-traditional speech, focusing less on the proposals for the year ahead and instead really focusing more on the future. And joining us to add perspective on what happened tonight, Dr. Martin Kifer, Assistant Professor of Political Science at High Point University and Director of the university's Survey Research Center. Did I say that right? Sorry, I wanted to say that. HPU poll, that's what I wanted to say. All right.
Thank you for
good
being
evening.
Here.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, so the president made a really big deal about changing the tone of politics. Is this going to have any effect?
Well, it's tough. You know, one of the things about what the president's trying to do is push back against a tone he spoke out against when he was running for election 8 years ago. And so it's tough. But I think that in the reaction from Governor Haley, we actually saw a similar kind of tone. You know, talking about possibilities for not always agreeing, but maybe lowering the volume a little bit to discuss differences.
Now, one way President Obama tried to address this tonight were some of his comments on health care. And we have that comment. Let's roll this, and we'll listen to it, and then we'll come back and talk about it.
I'm guessing we won't agree on health care anytime soon. But, oh, applause right there. Just a guess. But there should be other ways parties can work together to improve economic security. Say a hard-working American loses his job. We shouldn't just make sure that he can get unemployment insurance. We should make sure that program encourages him to retrain for a business that's ready to hire him.
Certainly, some of the more bipartisan talk he talked about tonight, and certainly addressing health care.
Yeah, I think that's right. And it's tough when you're talking about the Affordable Care Act and Obamacare. That's one of the big things that the Republican Congress has been working against, even before they took power. And so trying to forge some sort of consensus on what you can do to go forward is tough.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the president talked about policy in D.C., so changing policy in D.C. How is this going to affect you know, the people running to replace him?
Well, I think that on the Democratic side, you'll probably see people embrace a lot of what President Obama is talking about. That's probably not a surprise. But on the Republican side, I think that you may see a mixed set of reactions. We still have a pretty long roster of people who are running for the nomination and then the presidency. And so I think that you'll see people speaking to the constituencies they think are going to take them to the nomination. And those differ in terms of the tone they're receptive to.
The president did cite a bunch of signs of supposed progress, but you're the pollster. How do people of North Carolina see this? Do they feel the same way?
Yeah, it's been really mixed. I mean, one of the things that we do is we look at how people feel about their personal finances and about business conditions. And things have improved over the time that we've been doing that particular set of questions. But we have an indicator that maybe people have stalled in how much better they're feeling. And so going forward, it'll be interesting to see whether or not going into Election Day, people keep feeling a bit better, or whether or not this is a deeply divided electorate that's not going to feel optimistic.
Yes, exciting times. We've got the Iowa caucuses coming up in just a couple of weeks. So.
Yeah, and then not too far behind that, we're going to have our own primary.
On March 15th? Tuesday. All right, Dr. Martin Kifer, High Point University. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Good
for
to see
having
you
me.
again. All right, of course.